Hey, this is Scott, and today we're going to take a look at the image quality of the Tamron 70-200 f2.8 G2 and see how it stacks up against the Canon 70-200 IS Mark II. If you're new to this channel, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my other videos and subscribe if you want to see more in the future. I do have another video talking about the overall design and build quality of this lens, so if you want to check that out, click on screen now or check in the description down below. I'll also be posting an overall final review pretty soon, so be sure to check that out if you're interested. This won't be an overly controlled or scientific test because honestly, those never really did much for me. I've spent hours and hours reading about a lens, and then when I get my hands on it, it actually performs a little bit differently for me. So I just wanted to show you kind of how this performs in my actual use side by side with the Canon. As I said in my first impressions video though, I do want to provide as much material as I can so you can make your own judgments. All of the full resolution files from this review will be available to download for your personal use, so check in the description below for a link to that. All of these were processed in Capture One Pro, but nothing was done that would affect their sharpness or chromatic aberration performance or anything like that as far as what we're talking about today. Most people will probably think about sharpness and bokeh performance first, so let's take a look at that. The Tamron is impressively sharp in pretty much all situations, whether it's close focus or far focus, wide open, or of course stop down, 70mm, 200mm, and everywhere in between. At close distances, the Canon does seem to be a little bit sharper. However, I don't think that anyone would notice unless you're looking side by side at 100% magnification. At further distances, I struggle to find any difference between the two lenses, both in the center and towards the edge of the image. I would absolutely not hesitate to recommend either the Tamron or the Canon in terms of sharpness. The quality of the out-of-focus areas can be quite subjective, so I won't say too much about it, but you can see a few examples here, and again, you can download all of these files to look for yourself. Generally speaking, I don't see any difference between the two lenses. One thing that may be important to mention for some people is the focus breathing. While this and the Canon are obviously both 70-200mm lenses, when you're at close distances to your subject, the glass in the Tamron might shift in a certain way that effectively gives you less magnification than the Canon does. Because of this, even though the minimum focus distance of the Tamron is closer than that of the Canon at close distances will give you more magnification and therefore a more out of focus background. Also important to note is that this will not rob you of any focal distance. The Canon will not reach further than the Tamron, and the Tamron is 200mm. This difference is only noticeable when you're focusing on something that's relatively close to you. So if you're shooting birds or sports or even weddings for that matter, you probably won't notice much of a difference, and 200mm is 200mm. Just keep in mind when you're at close distances, it will not be the same framing or the same magnification as the Canon will. Also, I want to mention this goes just as well for the 70mm end as it does for the 200mm end. The way that the Tamron and the Canon render their color seems very similar. I can't tell a difference in most situations. The chromatic aberration is pretty much non-existent, even wide open in challenging situations on both of these, and also they vignette very similarly, as you can see here. On a 70-200mm lens, distortion has never been an issue for me, but as you can see here, when you look at 200mm, there may be a very slight pincushion distortion with the Tamron, while there's pretty much nothing with the Canon. At 135mm, they both seem to be perfectly fine. And when you zoom out to 70mm, the Tamron again might show a little bit of barrel distortion, but this wasn't a super scientifically controlled test. There's plenty of that on the internet already if you want to check it out, but again, on a 70-200 lens, distortion has never ever been an issue for me. When you point these lenses towards the sun, especially without lens hoods, the Canon actually fares a bit worse. They do both show ghosting, but again, the Canon seems to have a bit more. I'll include a few pictures here that might help you see the micro contrast with these two lenses, but again, I'll let you be the judge. Remember, you can download all of these files if you check the link in the description below. All in all, these lenses were surprisingly similar, and the biggest differences were the focus breathing and how they handle flare. Of course, the Canon is an amazing lens, especially when you think about how old it is compared to this Tamron. But when you think about the price difference, in terms of pure image quality, this Tamron is a serious steal. Amazingly good image quality for $500 to $1,000 cheaper than the competition. Based on image quality alone, if you decide to go with the Tamron, you will not be disappointed, even if you've used the Canon in the past. Again, be sure to check out my first look video if you want to see more about the build quality and design of this lens, and I will also be posting a full overall review of this lens very soon. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments below. I'll be sure to get back to you. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe, And as always, thank you for watching.